record. Okay. Yeah. Yes. I had it. It was a good birthday. It was a good birthday.
Good. It was a big one. Like, it was a big one. At least, like, for me, like, feeling your energy, it was a big one. A lot of things started and a lot of things were like sayonara, right? Like,
Yeah. Cycling. Oh shoot, I had to put this on because it's behind. Okay. It's like the time lags or whatever, you know what I mean? So I started
yeah,
hearing it was a big one again, and I'm like, whoa, whoa.
yeah,
Anyway.
yeah.
Hey everybody. We are streaming live on Facebook. I wanted to say a quick something about the fact that we didn't do the new moon in Cancer and we didn't do the full moon in Cancer. That was because both Michelle and I are getting a lot of stuff together. And Cancer is about mothering yourself. You know what I mean? Mothering, nurturing. We talked about it. I don't think I posted that we weren't going to do anything. I don't think anybody cried in their pillow, you know, because they didn't get this, but I just wanted to explain that it was a conscious decision, not, you know, agreement not to do them. So we just didn't have the time.
Yeah. And I think sometimes, especially when we're working on stuff, either you're working on stuff, kind of your adventures that you have, or your ventures, things that you're making plans to, goals that you have, it's okay when you need to take a step back and reevaluate things, like reassess where you are in your physical body, reassess your mental state, reassess any emotional things that have kind of come up for you, and take time. The people who are like support you, your tribe, and just kind of really come in for you, they're still going to be there, but you have to be able to show that you are able to take a couple moments for yourself, to get right. They call it Aini, right relation, to get back into that rhythm that you have. Because honest, in Cancer season, it does really bring up a lot of those emotions. And it might be, even though you might have thought that you were working on something, it might bring something else up in that spiral that hits you a bit differently, that you now have the awareness to say, I want to hold that a little bit. I want to see what that really means so that I can come out of it in a different way, not just notice it, honor it, and say, thank you for whatever you were teaching me, but I'm going to move forward in a different way. And it's different when, let's say, you have a cold and you know that it's coming, and you take the different precautions and you honor yourself with rest and hydration. It doesn't last as long, but you also feel like it didn't hit you as hard. And you're able to then go forward and make better plans of how you're kind of your aftercare. That's kind of we do with the Cancer season. We work with that aftercare of that nurturing, that mothering. So for all of us, even myself, when I had to step away from the full moon circle that I normally do in Texas, it was to say, yes, I have that time to take time for me to reevaluate and to sit with. And that sometimes is difficult, to remove yourself from things that you're used to doing, but it's also, if you need it, it's an important time to recognize that, and love that space. So
Yeah. Thank you for, because I was in a hotel room in West Virginia when the new moon was going on. Yep. And you were the one that brought it up, and I was like, I don't want to do it. And if we don't want to do it, we're not going to do a good job.
Right.
And another one, it's just one of my favorite things that I've noticed following astrologers over the years is they take breaks, and some people get really pissed off about it. You know what I mean? And I'm like,
Yeah.
and I love that, but it's a job where you can literally kind of look at your chart and be like, wow, I'm getting like pounded on right now. So, and I was, you know what I mean? I have a lot of, I have Saturn and Mercury in Cancer also, and a bunch of planets in Aries and Libra. So I've been in like a little bit of a vice. But anyway, it was very kind of refreshing to have the month off and all of that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, my Sagittarius heart went with you on your travels. I was
I
like,
know.
"You're doing it, babe. You're
It was
doing it."
amazing. It was so amazing. I was all good and alone. So, okay. So Leo new moon, should I do the chart
Yes,
first and then we'll chit
do
chat?
the art. Yeah,
Okay. And
I want to get into that.
if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. I should have put that in the box, but oh well. Share screen. Okay. So here we have the chart. The new moon is exact July 28th, which is Thursday at 12:54 p.m. And that's Central Time, Texas. So we have the sun here in Leo and the moon here in Leo at 5 degrees. That is exact. I just want to tell you, Michelle, I looked, that's exactly trining. It's making a really good aspect to your sun in Sagittarius.
Right
So
on.
yeah, so no, you're gonna feel this like a little extra, which is cool. But anyway, so new moons in astrology, they're about new beginnings, starting a new cycle, setting intentions, manifesting, kind of the beginning of the manifesting journey, where you plant seeds. It's like a 28-day cycle, a 6-month cycle, a 1-year cycle, just beginnings. And with Leo, we're looking at Leo is ruled by the sun, so this makes it kind of an extra powerful new moon. And a lot of times new moons can be a little bit more subtle of a feeling than a full moon, but because the sun is in Leo, which it rules, this is just a really fresh start. And Leo is healthy expression of the ego. We did come to Earth to be human beings and to feel good and to express ourselves. The ego gets a bad rap, but a healthy ego is necessary, or we literally wouldn't be here anymore. You know what I mean? So anyway, we have that. They are making an aspect to Jupiter in Aries over here, and that is a good supportive aspect. Jupiter is at 8 degrees. So Jupiter is about learning and expansion. There's a lot of fire energy. Leo and Aries are fire signs. So we're just very expressive, very creative, feeling independent, feeling proud. Leos are very about family. They're very family oriented. It's royal, so it's kind of like this royal energy. But I think this could be a good one for just for setting an intention to feel good about ourselves, to do things that we enjoy, to have fun. Leo is about having fun. The new moon itself is not aspecting too many things, right? So in general, this may not be like hitting super big, but we do have a couple other things going on in the sky. Mercury is in Leo. Mercury is our mind. So Mercury is moving towards an opposition to Saturn. And the reason that jumped out at me is and Saturn is authority, discipline, self-discipline, or like unwanted discipline. It can go either way. And Mercury opposing Saturn, this felt a lot to me like judgment from others. Are we, wanting to do what we want to do, but are we going to stay true to ourselves, or are we going to cave to some sort of perceived outside pressure or something like that? And these are all in creating a square with the North and South node. And the North and South node is where we are headed and where we're coming from. I don't want to get we can delve into that in a bit if we want to, but basically there may be a change or something that we want to make, that we want to set an intention for, but I see a possibility here for not speaking up for ourselves, not staying true to our hearts. That's what Leo is like, represents the heart. So we really want to follow our hearts with this new moon and this whole cycle, and not concern ourselves so much with Saturn over here in Aquarius, representing the collective, frowning upon us or making us, you know what I mean, making us feel dumb or judged or whatever, whether perceived or, whether it's real or imagined. So that's kind of what I saw. Venus is in Cancer. We really want to feel good. She is coming up on a square with Chiron over here in Aries. So there's potential here for feeling insecure about ourselves. So while Leo wants us to like feel good, there's just a couple other things in the sky that might have us second guessing where we're going.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Awesome. So here I'm going to do this a little bit different.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about real quick, when I talk about the full moon, or when I talk about the new moon, and I talk about things to do, and I talk about my emotions or what I'm feeling in general, a lot of that comes from a place of curanderismo, right? So curanderismo, but also a lot of where my ancestors came from and the practices that I've kind of pulled in to help identify what calls to me or why things call to me the way they do. So like the herbs and the plants and the winds, the animals, just different things like that. So a lot of times when I'm speaking about what part of our body it hits is because we are all a part of nature. I think sometimes when we think of ourselves outside of nature, that we're inside our homes a lot. We either stuck on our phone or the television or whatever. It's because we are having a lot of things run through our mind, and it traps or freezes our body so that we don't have movement. If we don't get those things out and we don't understand how it is to process, it stays physically in our body, but it runs crazy in our minds. It has us repeat these things on and on again. So when I talk about the new moon and the full moon and the rituals that we can do, it's literally so that way we have a way to calm or quiet this mind right here, and we have an act to release and to take time to seek out what it is that we want to bring in. Take time to let go what it is that we need to let go of. Make that a practice, because that is part of nature. The bloom that comes with what we've asked for when we set that intention for the seed, and then when it dies, the petals release and they go back into the earth to help nurture and nourish something else. So with this new moon that we have, sometimes the new moons are subtle, yes, and they're subtle for a reason. So when think of the darkness and the vastness that's around us, and sometimes when we're outside, we don't see anything except for the starlight. Those are the twinklings of our ideas that we have. Those are those hopes and those rays of maybe it's a possibility. That's where the new moon comes in. That's where Leo, for us this time, it allows us to stand in the light a little bit of a different way. If we're feeling a little bit excited about, I want to talk about this, or I want to do this, I want to try this, go with it. It doesn't mean that it has to be perfect. And yes, Leo is all about family, but nature is a part of our family. The winds, the skies, the sun is all a part of our family. So if it's a practice, a subtle practice that we would try, instead of being outside at night, try to be outside for a little bit in the sun. In the morning when sun rises, sun gaze for a little bit. Try to be present with the breath. So when I think of Leo, I think of their mane, right? I think of this giant antenna that it has. And he or she, he normally doesn't move quite a whole lot. He gets the gist of what else is going on, right? But he's just kind of there hanging out. When you think of the mamas or the mujeres of that, they do active hunting. And when I say active hunting is they are really invested in making sure that their clan, that their pride that they have, that they're well taken care of. But that means they hone what is inside of them. They hone their instincts. They hone their intuition. They really breathe into that, what makes them them. And they focus on that and they nourish that. This regalness, this pride, this ego that they have gets them up in the morning. So if Cancer has had us reworking what emotions we want to feel, what emotions we want to let go, what emotions we still have to work on, have this Leo season get you up in the morning. Have this Leo season put your feet on the ground and move forward. Have this Leo season hold tight that you are constantly working and moving to find you. And it's not that you're lost, again, but it's on top of all of these sedentary things that keep us on immobile, so to speak, right? Perpetuated with like a fear aspect, or you're not good enough, or you have to be the best at, you can only show it when you're ready. That was a big one for me. Like, let's be honest, right? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I work with a lot of herbs and I'm always trying to make them as presentable so that people get all of this information all at once. And that's not always what they need. And I'm constantly looking and relooking at how it can help the body. Well, sometimes, let's just be real, it just needs to get out of the house, right? It doesn't need to
Yeah.
stay here. That's not why it's made. So that's, again, that's not why you're created. That's not why you create. It's to not stay hidden. You create and you are, like, you being is a creation. You're constantly doing that. It needs to be out because there are many, many, many people. There are many, many vibrations outside of yourself that wait to feel your reflection. You go out, you interact with something or someone, and they will feel that resonate through them. It's your interaction with life that calls Leo to be more. So it's that reciprocation where you're not going to get a whole lot of places when you sit down, but when you get out, it might be a little scary, but you'll get back more than what you give out. You just have to try.
Yep.
That's at least the way that I see it. And my daughter, she's a Leo, right? She was born on the 22nd. Girl, she is every song and dance you can possibly think of. She wakes up in the morning, mommy, let's go. Ya está bien pronto. Let's go, mommy, let's go. Singing and dancing and performing like nobody's business. And how are you supposed to stay inside or hidden with that? She wants to be seen. She wants to move. She wants to dance. And I think sometimes with us, we forget how to dance. We forget our movements. We forget how joyful we can be. And in that joy is reclaiming that love from the Cancer emotions. We love all parts of ourselves, right? We got to try to find a way to love all parts of ourselves. But I think that that's interesting where that Chiron comes in.
Yeah.
To place.
Yeah. And it's funny too, because in my experience, we have a ton of Leos in my family. My son is a Leo, my dad's a Leo, my sister's a Leo, my brother is a Leo. And there, I find this in family charts. There's a lot of like Saturn is hanging around, aspecting their sun, because it's not, I'm like, I have kitten Leos. Do you know what I mean? They're not
Yeah.
big, loud, like they're like I don't really feel like a Leo kind of. So anyway, it's just funny to me because when I started doing this, like all of the stereotypes of a Leo, it's not in my family, but there are aspects and planets that run in family charts. It's so wild when I look at like
Mhm.
families, just because those are the repeated ancestral patterns that
Yeah.
we're passing down and healing and all of that. Anyway, that was just an aside, and it made me think of that because you were like describing Leo. And I think that of all of the signs, I was thinking of this one meme I saw where it was like the signs at a restaurant, and Leo was looking for the head of a round table, like the head seat at a round table. And and
You
I'm like,
know, that
it's
is so freaking on it. Yes, because I try to be very kind of like, okay, whatever. But I do that shit when I go into a room, I'm like, well, I like this one, but I don't want to be that bitch, right? I do. I very much do. And it's hard for me to kind of like calm down with it because it's not that people are going to think like whatever of me. And that's where that, somebody else's perceptions or whatever, right? But it's very much like, I kind of feel comfortable at the head.
yeah.
Let's do it.
Yes. Well, and that's what it is. It's the healthy ego. I mean, when your ego is really like when you're really struggling, when people are suicidal or whatever, that's when you
Right.
don't want to be here. Or when you're ultra connected to spirit and they talk,
Yeah.
that you're released as well. It's like being a human being is having a fucking ego, and it's learning to
Yeah.
work with it. And because you're caring for your temple.
That, yes, you touched on a very, very important piece there when it comes to Leo. So when you come out and you're in the sun and you're exposed, sometimes those antennas, they pick up a lot of that bonchinche, like the chisme, right? The bullshit, right? They pick up
Mhm.
a lot of that stuff. And that's where a lot of people can get into this idea of like, well, shit, if they're stuck in their whatever and they're projecting that on me, then I need to go back into my hole, right? I need to go back into my little space, my little den. Um, because I feel that sometimes when you don't wake up with that ego, right? You don't set that intention, you do have the ability to start spinning out. That's what I've been hearing, right? When I go into meditation, that's what I've been hearing. And the winds too, they push through this understanding of people getting a bad vibe, right? Getting a bad message. And it's a lot of that ide, right? A lot of that old ancestral stuff saying you're not good enough. This is not going to work out. What is this really? What are we really here for? Why am I doing this? It just is going to end badly. I don't know why I'm wasting so much energy. And then it eats. It's like once you start with that cycle, it's going to kind of continue and repeat, right? So when we're in those moments of like, shit, what do I don't know how to turn this off. I don't understand why I'm spiraling like this. I'm going down like this. Okay. The best thing that I can recommend when you're in that kind of state is to say, I need to shut that thought. It's a thought. I need to capture that thought. It's a thought. It's not a whole being. It's not a whole movement. It is a thought. So I'm going to capture that thought, take it to a candle, take it to sorry, it's my daughter. She's hot right now.
You're good.
Yeah. So take it to a candle, take it to incense. If you don't have any of those things that you can use, literally take it to the earth with some stones. Again, you can find whatever stones anywhere, leaves, blow it into that. Get your mind back into, it's just a thought. It's not going to stay. It's just a thought. It's not mine. It's just a thought. I'm getting it out. Breathe into it. Let it rest. Let it rest, because you've got shit you've got to do. That, put it somewhere else. Okay. Because right now we are in a time where we are really being challenged with a lot more emotional, a lot more spiritual awareness. And sometimes when it kicks you in the ass, right? Sometimes when it kicks up, it brings it straight up through your spine and you can feel it, or it brings you right back down to kind of like that fetal position. So I want the body to be able to release that negativity. If you can't, reach out to somebody in serious, reach out to somebody in your tribe, reach out to the friends that you know, right? Reach out to somebody who is at least going to be able to let you get that out. Okay? Because now is not the time to be shy about what it is that you have fears or feelings about. Right now is the time for you to let your intention fly with it. You want to be more open. You want to be more communicative. You want to be more in community. Okay. And I say that because if we, as a human, right, as a collective, if we're able to help our other fellow humans, then that's what we're here for as well. So that's why I say, if you're in a space where you can get it out and you're okay to get it out by yourself, that's what you need to do. Capture that thought. It's a thought. It's a little thing, right? Right now. Yeah. If you can't, then find someone to be honest with. That proudness from the Leo is about having honor.
Yeah.
Right? It's about being truthful. So that's exactly what I would focus on. And it is because it sinks you fast.
You know, you just reminded me two things. One was that literally synchronicity, because I was telling myself yesterday, and this is from Byron Katie, who I don't know if you've ever heard of, but she does something called The Work, and it's really good. But I was reminding myself that the thoughts in my head and the people that I'm mad at are literally pictures up here. You know what I mean? Like it's a movie playing and I'm having emotions about it. And then another thing was, I had shared a thought about something and I knew it wasn't a true thought, but it was a thought I had. And I felt kind of criticized for it. And so and then afterwards I was like, well, I can't help what I think. And so, because I was going through, I'm like, well, I knew that that wasn't true. You know what I mean? I was just expressing that it was up there. And that's okay. You know, like, you know, anyway, it's all right to think things that aren't true and to have somebody like I have you, I have other people in my life that I can be like, I've called you before and said, I feel like everybody's mad at me. And I know they're not. You know, but like this is the kind of stuff that plays around in our heads. And you know, that's all we have sometimes. It's like that's our inner experience and there's nothing wrong with it. So getting it out and being honest about it and not trying to hide it. And me not being extra awesome and amazing because I think everybody's mad at me. Instead, I just call you and say, hey, guess what? I think everybody's mad at me. Aren't I crazy? You know? And it's that Leo.
Yes, we come from a place where like our previous generations, ya se quita las palabras, so they don't say the words, right? They take away the words, right? También stoic. You see those in those like bajillion pictures, right? Where nobody smiled, they just, right, I'm just here. So they took away the ability to say what it is because it was more important for them to do than to say. And that left us sometimes a way of being confused, of knowing what to say or when to say or how to say it, how to work through that. And when we did start communicating like that, it was like, that's kind of strange. Y'all are kind of weird. I said, oh my God, I feel everything all the time, right? We get that kind of like, you're too much kind of shit. But it's not. So I want to reassure that the reason right now, in general, not just Leo, is kind of messy sometimes, is because it's like a toddler, right? Trying to get their stuff out, trying to understand their autonomy. Okay. trying to move into what it is to be and work and connect in a more enlightened, in a more meaningful way, because we know from past behaviors, from past generations, that just doing until we are exhausted and you know, tired, too tired in our bones, right? Too tired in our spirit, doesn't get us what we thought it would.
Mhm.
It didn't get them what they thought it would. It didn't mean to them what they thought it could. So we have to undo that. And sometimes untying that pretty little package that they created is difficult. Sometimes it is messy. Sometimes it has already become unraveled because it's kind of tattered. So when I say that showing up for yourself is important, it is fucking important.
Mhm.
It is everything. So this is where you say nature and nurture, es el mismo, it's the same thing. That's where you have to get back to it, right? And paws hit the ground. Maybe sometimes you just got to hit the ground, right? Sometimes you just got to dig in. You got to feel it. But it is very interesting once you start following the stars,
Mhm.
once you start following the moon, once you start following those rhythms, it's easier for you to connect than with the other rhythms of the season that come, the winds that come, the rains that come, the colder weather. The reason I really, really love doing the full moon and the new moon with you is because, especially with us taking time to recognize this and like key in on it, it allows me another opportunity to say, oh shit, yeah, we're in summertime. So we are really supposed to be doing some rest and some rehydration, because summer is fun, but the real work comes in autumn and winter, right? Because you're going to be harvesting in autumn, and in the winter, you're going to go into that hibernation where your body does a lot of work, right?
Yeah.
Even though you might not think, your body does a lot of work. So right now, if we're cultivating what it was for our emotions to come up, if we're now moving through to how we want to show up, our intentions for showing up in the world, then we're going to be able to, through the fall and through the winter, work on how we kind of harvest that fruit, right? How we harvest what it was that we asked to come forth in this season right now.
Yeah.
And like, if we need a little bit more light, then we need a little bit more light. It's okay to be honest with yourself. You need a little bit more walks, you need a little bit more walk, you know? But really be honest with yourself, and you owe yourself that time to put in what it is that you want to hope for, what you want to dream about, what you want to do. And again, it doesn't have to look perfect, but be with that. What is it you want to do? What is it that you are proud of, that lives in you, that brings you that sun?
Mhm. That's it. Rosalinda is here. She said, beautiful, thank you, and preach it. I don't know. So I love Rosalinda. You guys will have to, anyway.
Yeah,
Though when you said the lion, I was thinking like, yes, lions are fierce and you know, proud and all of that. But also there's the image of just the lion laying in the fucking sun, soaking it
babe,
up and
yes,
getting their rest,
yes.
and not feeling bad about it. I mean,
No.
like anyway, so it reminded me of that. But
Yeah.
all right. So what did you have for rituals and herbs and stuff for this time?
So the rituals that I would say right now that we're going to use or we would do is super simple. It's
Mhm.
get your feet up, and when the sunrise comes up, hit it and breathe. Okay.
Mhm.
So when I say breathe, if you need something like physical to look at, you can use, like, draw a square. Okay. draw a square on a piece of paper, and you're going to breathe in as you go up the square, and then you're going to breathe, or you're going to hold it as you go across, and you're going to exhale. Okay. And I would say it to like a beat of 4, right? You're going to breathe in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold. Okay. And the reason why I say this, because you want that drum beat, right? You might not have a drum. You can use yourself. That's going to be a way for you to keep that rhythm. But let the sunrise hit you. It's going to really open up and wake up that third eye that you have. It's going to allow you to take time to honor the breath in the day, and it'll allow more focus. So if you're someone like me who wakes up, and I wake up and I'm like, oh shit. So in my coffee, like, it's not like nobody to talk to me, but like if you wake up and you're like super like chirpy, like boop, 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 one of those little birds, I'm like, just give me just 2 seconds, okay? Like, I know you're saying lots of words, but they're not really coming through right now, right? So if I go outside and I meditate on my breath, it changes that chemistry. It changes, honestly, the need for like a lot of stimulants, meaning coffee or whatever, right? It really says, hey, I know, it really says, hey, you might just only need 1 cup, right? Not like 3. And it also sets you on a path to allow yourself the ability to, when you're communicating, you can talk a little bit easier. So the frequency of which you say your words. Okay. So I would say you're not able to sun gaze in the morning and do the breath work, then I would actually allow yourself to come in and do a little bit of candle work. Candle work means that you take a little candle that you have. Again, we're working with the fire energy for the new moon. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to roll it towards you. Okay. You're going to roll it towards you twice or 3 times, because you're calling stuff in. Okay. So roll it in towards you 3 times. And what you're going to do is you can either carve in the candle what it is that you are thinking about. It doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be like a paragraph of quién sabe qué or whatever it is. It can be something like joy. It can be something like energy. It can be something like hope. It can be renewal. It's something that you want to call in. If it honestly means that you want to call in happiness or love, this is a perfect time to do that. You can carve it in there, or if you don't want to, you can write it on a piece of paper. Okay. And you're going to tape it around there. Okay. Because this will be like your new moon. This is what you're calling in. And you're going to light it, and you're going to focus on the flame. You're going to figure out where it hits you when you read that word. How does it hit you when you say that word? Now close your eyes. How does it hit you when you breathe in that word? Holding space in your heart and in your mind for it. And then I want you to come back to this candle on a regular basis. Okay. All up until the full moon, I want you to come back to it. Sit with it 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, however long you can sit with it. But make that your time, so that way you're able to create and make more space for what it is you're calling in. And this is not something to feel like you are taking away from something else. You are putting time and love and respect into this endeavor, into this intention. So this is your time, unapologetically. Okay. This is your time to have that ego to say, I need to sit with this. If you can see it in your mind's eye, if you sit with it and you can see it, you know what it looks like, then you already created it. It's on its way. So call to it. Let it know that you are connecting with it. Let it know that you are on your way to it. That's the beauty of the Leo's love and happiness and excitement and jubilation. It knows it's on its way. It knows that it's coming. But for our human brains, sometimes we need something more representational. We need to allow ourselves to create that space. If we continue to make ourselves busy with things to fill the minutes and the hours and the days that we have up until we reach that, we will have squashed all of that energy to get us there because we filled it with something else. So this is where we let our happiness, this is where we let our sun take that lead. So those are the two new moon rituals that I would definitely take part in.
Okay. And there, yeah, there's a lot of creativity available here. One thing that I wanted to explain about that Mercury Saturn thing, because that's going to be going on about a week after the full moon, also, maybe not quite a week, but a few days, is Saturn, you know, if other people, if we're feeling like they're being critical or anything like that, first of all, if we weren't owning the feeling of being insecure about something, we wouldn't see it as criticism. We would just see it as what they think, you know? So there's something here to using that Saturn energy. That's what happens when you have an opposition, is that you are trying to balance those energies. So using that Saturn energy to refine and cultivate confidence in your ideas, you know, instead of thinking like, oh, what I was thinking was so stupid. Why would I try that? Be like, well, hold on, maybe it does need a little tweaking there, or actually, no, I'm pretty certain that this is it, you know, but just taking any sort of outward criticism or you know, fear, and using it to kind of cultivate and refine what it is that you're trying to create, instead of just doing that cataclysmic thinking.
Yeah.
So anyway, does anybody have any questions? I don't know that many people, we've got a couple people here, but we'll give it a minute because there's a lag, but I do have some stuff I need to do, and I think I know how to stop this and stop
Okay.
recording, so I can say bye to you, like, you know, because I don't know when I'm gonna talk to you again. But yeah, I don't think there are any questions, so.
Okay.
All
Well, if
right.
anybody does have any after questions or anybody needs some assistance with it when it comes to rituals, also there's a lot of limpias and things like that that can be done, especially during this time because it's a fire time. Definitely let Teresa know. I would definitely at this time, if you are
Thank
looking
you.
for an avenue or what you want to set your intention on, have her take a look at your chart. Okay. Have her see where that's hitting, because you might be feeling it, but you might not necessarily know if it's really hitting you in that spot. You know, sometimes we need those connections. So I would definitely take a look at your birth chart at this time, because this is kind of like a go-getter, right, for your happiness. This is kind of
It
like
is.
really making stuff happen.
Yeah, I have a question about what you do also, because, so, I mean, in Texas, Michelle does blessings, house blessing, I mean, rituals. Do you do any of that online? But you also do the herbs and stuff like that. So Michelle is who I go to when, I mean, Zeke has like a ghost here, or, you know, so she's a wealth of information when it comes to things like that. Like, I always answer people honestly, and that's not my thing. I mean, I know a little bit of stuff that I do when I feel like there's an entity or whatever. But do you do blessings online? Like,
So normally if there is a person who's remote, then yes, we can
okay.
do that. So part of that is that we're able to connect. So if we're just over the phone and we're not able to see the space, sometimes a little bit more, if I'm able to be there, it's a lot better. But yes, so if we are needing to set up ritual, if we are needing to find a routine for ritual, if we're needing to do a cleansing or release, then yes, we can definitely do that. So that way these practices are meant to be available. They're meant to be not something that is kept away or remote. These are also things that people who need them, they might be hesitant to ask for them. So we really want to make it as approachable as possible, because allowing someone into that space is very intimate. And I understand that and we respect that. So in our culture, when we come into doing a cleansing or limpia or a ritual, it is something that is very much set into intention around what we're doing. It's very honored and sacred. So to sum it up, yes, we do it online as well.
Okay, it's like me with the readings. It's quantum. We're all,
Yes.
but the phone is really hard for me because I'm super visual. Same way if I can't see. Anyway, all right. Peace and namaste. I love you guys. Rosalinda, I'll get you that information afterwards. She said thank you for all the ideas and she wanted
Oh,
to
wonderful.
get your information, so I'll message her.
Wonderful.
Okay, so there we go. Stop live stream. Bye, everybody.